So hello and yes, welcome back to another video, guys. Now that's right, today I am going over Kong Skull Island, continuing on with my Monsterverse reviews. We reviewed Godzilla 2014, directed by Gareth Edwards, and now we're reviewing Kong Skull Island, and hopefully next week or so, or maybe the week after, we will review Godzilla King of the Monsters, and then finally, eventually, in about a month's time, just over a month's time, we'll be reviewing Godzilla vs. Kong. So yes, anyway, let's get started with the review. So Kong Skull Island, this film was directed by Jordan Bob Roberts, I think is how you say his name. Apologies if I said that wrong. It's a double barrel surname. It's a bit of an awkward one. But yeah, I'm not really familiar with this director. He's pretty new to me. So yeah, and I haven't really seen much else that he's done so far. But this film here has a stacked cast. This film here is very impressive because the cast of it is insane. And while I absolutely love that, I have some issues with it at the same time. So this film stars Tom Hiddleston, Samuel Jackson, Brie Larson, John C. Reilly, and Mr. John Goodman. What a great cast there. However, here's my issue with it. This is the only film set in the past. Why didn't you save this stacked cast for a film set in the present where you could use them again? Considering the casts that you've got for the other films have not been near as impressive. It's a bit of a baffling decision to me. Anyway, so this film here came out in 2017. This was actually the first one I saw in cinema. I didn't see Godzilla 2014, even though I love that movie. And it's still, at the moment, my favourite of the Monsterverse films, and I can't lie, it probably still will be after Godzilla vs. Kong. But hey, let's hope I'm wrong. This film here was really interesting. I was really happy to get away from the classic Kong story of him on Skull Island and then them taking him back to New York and then him going up the Empire State Building with a girl in his hand and there's planes and blah, blah, blah. You know, it's a great story. I love the original 1933 film. And I do actually enjoy Peter Jackson's 2005, 2006 one. But I just didn't want to see that story again. And I was really happy that here we weren't getting it. It was a fresh take on Skull Island. And I actually really enjoyed seeing the island itself in a bit more detail here. And of course, they have just announced a Skull Island TV series, which I'm very excited for. So this film's really interesting. I want to start off by saying, for the majority of this film, I love how it looks. The island itself looks fantastic. The storm that the characters have to go through to get to the island looks great. The monsters all look fantastic. The skull crushers, I think is what they're called. Skull crawlers, something like that. They look great. All the other monsters look fantastic. The issue I have with how this film looks is there are a couple, and it really is only a couple of shots where they just overdo it. And you can tell it's being filmed in a hangar. One which I found really just bad was one where John Goodman's sort of sitting on a log at night. I think there's a fire in front of him and he's got like a stick and he's doing something. Sam Jackson sits down and has a conversation with him. You can tell that this was filmed almost, it could have even been after they'd wrapped and they thought, oh quick, we need to film this scene. Let's get these two actors back quickly. Because the lighting is so poor and the background looks awful. And then there's also another couple shots like when the gas was going off. And Tom Hiddleston's going through with his sword. And it reminded me of the Thor Ragnarok posters. The individual character ones where there's like some smoke coming off next to the characters. Which is funny because Tom Hiddleston playing Loki in those had one of those posters. And that's exactly what it looked like. And it's like, this just doesn't look real. But other than that, the majority of this film looks great, I think. It looks fantastic. You can tell they put a lot of money into it. Kong himself looked incredible. Like, really good. In terms of plot, for the most part, I really enjoyed it. I like the fact, you know, they're going to the island to learn. Sam Jackson's character, he doesn't agree with how America, or with what his country did at the end of the Vietnam War here. So it's very interesting. And he's one of the most interesting characters in it because of that. You can tell there's a personal side to this where, especially after what happens at the start, he wants revenge. He's revenge-driven, and he's a bit war-mad. The Vietnam War has made him a bit mad, almost. And I find that really interesting. You know, Tom Hiddleston and Brie Larson, They're both fantastic actors. I love Tom Hiddleston, I really do. I also love Brie Larson. Anyone who wants to put her down just for the sake of it, you know, go watch Room. That's all I've got to say to that. But their characters are just generally very boring here. They're not given much to do. The script isn't allowing them to do much. And it's such a shame because they're both such great actors and they're really wasted in this movie. John Goodman's always good. John C. Reilly is the one that I find really interesting because I remember when the second trailer for this dropped and his character showed up and it sort of put a lot of people off. And I've spoken to a few people about this movie and they don't like John C. Reilly's character. They're like, he's too much. And to be honest, I find most characters in this movie very stale and very dry. And to have a character who's a bit more charismatic, I thought was a bit of a breath of fresh air. And the guy's been stuck on the island for 20-something years. You're going to go crazy. You're going to go crazy. I thought it made sense. I found his character fun. For me, John C. Reilly's character was the best one in it. He really was. He was the one who was talking sense. And, hey, I just, you know, plus side, I love John C. Reilly. I think he's a great actor. So, yeah, character-wise, it's a mixed bag. You got a couple that are really good, a couple that are not. And, yeah, the conclusion to this film I found also really fantastic, I want to say. How we got there was a bit wishy-washy at times. The characters, it was sometimes hard to keep track of where certain things were going. Right, example, there was one bit where there was a guy on his own who Sam Jackson was looking for throughout the first half of the movie. And it keeps cutting to him on his own. And his story really doesn't go anywhere. In defense to that, his character is there as a reason for Sam Jackson to have motivation to do stuff. But I feel like there were just too many cuts to him throughout the earlier parts of the film. Because obviously this particular character just dies. Spoilers. And I just sort of feel like, did you need to cut to him that much, considering, you know, he was just going to get killed off halfway through the movie? But anyway, the end credit scene was fun. You know, they teased Godzilla and King Ghidorah. I think there was even a little Mothra, maybe even a Rodan bit there, just completely teasing King of the Monsters, which got everyone super hyped, including me. But yeah, overall, I do enjoy this film. There are problems with it. There are pacing issues. And there's just a lack of, I think, urgency might be a good way to describe it. Nothing feels super urgent in this film. They're sort of just strolling about the island at times. And there's a couple just unnecessarily unrealistic bits. Like at the end when they're being chased by the Skull Crusher and there's a guy who's like, nope, I'm going to stay behind, I'm going to blow it up. And he, you know, he tries to blow it up, gets killed. And then the Skull Crusher, who in one scene was only like only... you know, 20 feet behind them, you can't catch up with them, apparently. But anyway, overall, though, I do enjoy this film. I just wish that they saved this cast for a film where they could have used them again. I give this film a 7 out of 10. It's fun. It's just nice to have a different take on King Kong. It really is. But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video as always, guys. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, like the video, leave a message, and as always, I'll see you all next time for another video. Bye-bye.